Hello everyone, Hamas28 here, and welcome to Seaopolis Submerged. So this pack was recommended by a couple people in the community, and I haven't really heard too much about it. Apparently there was an older version of Seaopolis that came out many more years ago. I think this pack only came out in 2024, which seems like that was so far away. We're actually 2 months into February, 2 months into 2026. But it did come out, I believe, at the end of 2024, so it's only like a year and a half old, which is not really that old for a Minecraft mod pack. What are those sharks out there? Anyways, this mod pack finds us submerged in the ocean, and there's not much we can do to escape as of yet. The water is poisonous, and the air is also poisonous, so it'll be up to us to expand, build a factory, build a suit to go deeper into the depths, pretty much build a spacesuit to go up into the air so we can breathe, and expand. Now, as always, any pack is going to start by harvesting some trees. Now you can see there's quite a lot of quests to guide us through the story, and we're going to start with the cold ocean. Pretty standard stuff, make some planks, make a crafting table, looks like we do have crooks, and it seems like the main way we're going to generate resources early game comes from the wooden strainer. So go ahead and make our crafting table. We can also make it normal in case you don't want to see a blue one. And let's go ahead and get some sticks here to make ourselves a crook. And then let's actually make a second crook here. And then we do get some mystical fertilizer to instantly grow any sapling at the click of a button. So that should let us get a couple of trees ready to go, and we'll harvest some wood just to make the next steps a little bit easier. Now I do notice a distinct lack of silkworms have dropped from the leaves, so I'm not actually sure. Actually, I could just check that, can't I? I always find that so funny when I'm like, man, I don't know if something is in the pack. If only there was a way to search that was available, and it doesn't look like there's any silkworms in the pack, because I see they had crooks, but I don't think these are from Ex Nihilo. Yeah, these are from Opolis Utilities. Interesting. I do notice a lot of stuff is labeled as Caveopolis, so Opolis might just be its own essentially set of like mod pack, well not mod pack, mods that they used for this pack. Now let's go ahead and get ourselves the wooden strainer. So it does take a wooden catcher along with, what is this, a wooden mesh. And then to actually craft the main device, it's going to take full logs and then 2 meshes. So not that bad, honestly, to get it started. I do like when they keep it pretty simple for actually crafting the main things. Where are the meshes? Wooden mesh. Because it just makes the early game flow a little bit smoother. It's really annoying when the early game is like a super slog, because the first way to craft anything is like really annoying. And, oh, I need more sticks. That's what we're missing. And make our first wooden strainer. Oh, this is a wooden catcher. I didn't craft that yet. That's why it's not finishing. Craft that. And there we go. Now I do think we still need another mesh. So let me craft one of these to run it. And we could put this pretty much anywhere. We'll dump it in the corner for now. So you do this, and I believe from the quest reward you get a water tank, which goes right on top, like so. And then you put in your mesh and your catcher, and it starts working. So if we take a look at the wooden catcher here and go to strainers, you can see with water above it, a wooden catcher, and any kind of mesh, we're going to start generating some driftwood. Now there are upgrades to make it go faster, and it looks like we can actually strain all sorts of stuff. Dirty mulch, bait boxes, mulch. 2 types of dirty mulch, interesting. There are 20 pages of strainer recipes, so that seems like that's where we're going to get most of our resources. So let me grab this driftwood and see what that's about. A stronger wood obtained through the strainer. Gives us a B-Bucks wallet, and it seems like we're going to be crafting a lot of these wooden tools using our driftwood. Then it wants us to collect leaves and make a cutting board. So we're going to be crafting all this stuff out of wood. Now the wallet is interesting. It did mention, so you can put away your bucks just by shift right clicking. It goes in the wallet. It did keep mentioning a catalog of sorts. Catalog book, which is crafted from a catalog, or the book. No, catalog and a book. And a catalog is a sea buck and any type of stone. So this is going to come a little bit later, because we keep getting all of these bucks from completing quests, and it keeps mentioning the catalog, and I wasn't sure what that was. So let's go ahead and craft the rest of our items. Wooden bucket, wooden hopper, wooden bucket. The hopper will take some more driftwood. Always the slow start, waiting for your automatic strainers to collect some stuff for you. And we could also make the cutting board, which I think is like this. There we go, one cutting board. Always put it on top of the crafting table. And then we can make a chest for our hopper, which will take only 5 driftwood. And now we can combine our chest with the logs to make a hopper and finish off all these initial quests. And then it looks like we're working towards getting bones from fish. So we're going to collect a little bit more wood so we can make another strainer, because it looks like the bait box is going to be used next to collect fish. And then we're going to get down to bones. So let me craft some more bones real quick by using our bone meal. And it does seem like water is seeping through, but that's just cosmetic. We shouldn't have to worry about it. And we can also use our new wooden shears to collect some of these leaves. So now that we have a second strainer, and I used up all the magical fertilizer, we're going to go ahead and place this guy here, place our leaves on top, like so, and now if we put in our mesh along with the strainer once more, so make a wooden catcher, make another mesh out of sticks, and throw that in here, this is doing nothing. Why aren't you doing something? What did I do wrong? Oh, oak leaves. I see. That's what I did wrong. Let's see. So this is a strainer tank. How do I make one of those? Can I make a strainer tank? Strainer tank comes from glass and more glass. Technically, I think we could harvest this luminous glass, couldn't I? I wonder if that would work. Let me see. If the water comes seeping in... Okay, we cannot do that, because the water is going to seep in and poison us. So let me remove this light colored leaves. We should be able to grab this. And no, we cannot. Okay, so all water is poisonous. Is this still working? Yes. So it seems like I'm just going to have to come over here, take this mesh off, and put in our leaves. How do you do this? Oh, I think you take the catcher off. There we go. So light blue color leaves go on the bottom, the mesh goes on top. But with only one water tank so far, we're going to be limited by how much we can do. So let me make a... I was going to say let me make a chest, but we don't need one yet. Our inventory is not too full. And we're going to get a worm out of this. And we also need to make a knife, which should be a stick and then 2 pieces of driftwood to make a wooden knife. And now we should be able to collect a worm. And we're going to need another thingamabob, wooden mesh. Nope, not the mesh. Another piece of this. Can I put the whole stack? Okay, you can. Cool. Works a lot better. Now we can go ahead and grab this, grab our worm, grab the sea buck, and make a bait box, which is just plank, stick, and worm. Bait box. A box for bait. Bait box. Grab this, and now we should be able to swap this here. Okay, so it seems like you interchange what's on the bottom, but the mesh always stays in the middle, and then the icon that looks like an upgrade slot is probably where the upgrade slots go. We also get an ink sac, which I believe is for aquatic torches, underwater torches, real nice. And now if we come back to this guy, we got our first fish, a perch, and I believe we just take this guy to our cutting board and chop him up, which will give us a little raw fish fillet and our fish bones. My favorite weapon. Which gets us almost done with the first quest, so we can turn fish bones into bone meal and then a bone block from 3 bone meal. Okay. Wait, is that the vanilla recipe? Now that I think about it. I don't think this has changed, right? I thought a bone block took bones. That's what I'm thinking of. More fish that we're going to chop up for their bones, because I think you get... Okay, you get 3 per, so if we chop up 2 more fish, that should get us all the bone meal we need. Nice. And make our bone block. Done. And then make a sapling grower. Instantly grows sapling from a single bone block. Awesome. and a composter, another vanilla item, which we should be able to craft right now pretty easily. I think that's enough, right, to make a composter? No, we need one more. It's always annoying when it's off by one, and we get our composter, which we'll throw off. We'll put it right, we'll put it on this side. That's a good spot for it. And then make the sapling grower, so we'll need a bit more fish. Ink sacs and worms. Gonna need 2 more fish here. And then we should be good to go. So now we just chop, chop, chop all the fish. Can I just put the knife in my offhand? Would that work? Because I know usually if you put the fish in your offhand and just right click, that works better. I don't think it applies the other way. But now we can make our bone block and make our sapling grower with a little bit more sticks here. Like so. And now we have a faster way to make some more trees. Ta-da! Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And with that, the first chapter is complete. And now if we can just figure out a way to get a little bit more water, we can actually set up a couple more of these wooden strainers for us to generate a little bit more resources. Now I do notice that this mod pack has the little add-on here to show you the eaten effects. I'm not actually sure if that gives you bonus hearts though, or if it's just the tooltip one, because I think there's a difference. I can also eat a worm here. Hopefully it doesn't make me sick. Okay, it does nothing. It's like half of a saturation bar, which is essentially nothing. A little bit more of that, and oh, let me grab this guy to get another duck. Not quite sure what the point of the ducks are, but that gets us over to the next chapter, Bonecraft, which is pretty nice. That means we don't have to stay on wood for too long. Cut up bone blocks to get 3 bones. Okay, that's a funny way to do it. Sharp bones come from bones. Gotcha. Can you craft stuff with this? You can. You can make weapons, skulls, armor, and oh, that's it. I was like about to say all sorts of stuff, but it's actually just 1 page. So we want to turn all the fish bones into bone meal, then turn all the bone meal into bone blocks. Then we want to place the bone blocks on the cutting board, cut them into bones, take a single bone, cut that into a sharp bone, combine that sharp bone like so, and that's not how you do it. You need 2 of them. Like so. And what am I doing wrong? Oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. It's not even the right orientation to make a remnant saber. And I think this is from Aquamirai, right? I always see this weapon in RPG packs. Adaptation, deal 100% more damage while in the water. Well, I think that'll be good in this environment. Moving on, let's take a look here. We can make a bone mesh, which will give us better rewards. We can also make a skeleton key, which are the base of all the keys used to expand your base, made from a bone, 2 bone meal, and 2 sticks, which should be the most important part that we want to get done. It is a little annoying that we have to manually cut all these fish, so I hope that there's a better solution coming soon. Let me bookmark this guy, do this, do that, and craft a bone key. And then we have to make a bone hammer, which will take 2 bone blocks and a bone. Now it looks like the bait box did deplete, so I had to replace that, put in a new wooden mesh. Oh, I like that. I didn't notice it actually changed, because we're going to need a little bit more bones here. Tentacles, can I cut that? Cut tentacles? Interesting. So it's a different type of food. Looks like there's a lot of aquatic food here, and then we can use this to make squid rings. There's also a smoking generator, which is interesting, so we can generate power in the Gourmand Dynamo. Good to know. Now my inventory is getting too full, so let's go ahead and make a chest here. Just to store all of our junk, like all this food we're getting. Alright, now that should be enough bone meal to actually finish the bone club. So now make 2 blocks of bone. Craft the bone club. How do I craft this again? Bone club. Why did I not see it? Bone hammer, that's why. Bone hammer. And then we take the hammer with the skeleton key to break it into key fragments. And now we're going to use the key fragments to make another key. Remover, short room, corridor, tall room, normal room, room topper, wall remover. Wall remover can be used to clear the wall. Wall remover 9x4, wall remover 9x14, corridor, corridor, and a drawer key. One of those is not the same. Is there one this wants us to craft in particular? It wants us to make all of it. So I think can be used to add a small area to your base, can be used to add a normal size, can be used to make a tall area. Okay, so it looks like this is a 9x9x14, while this one is a 9x9x9, and the short is a 9x9x4. So I think the one we're in is I'm not sure. Is this a tall room? I think it is a tall room. But I think to craft all these, we'll take a little bit more bones. No, it's actually just the fragments. But then you can use these keys plus more fragments to make the bigger keys. Now, what is a room topper? How many keys are there? If I search key, what comes up? Okay, none of these come up. Okay, that's because I spelled it wrong. Key. There we go. Tons of keys. From Seaopolis. Okay, that's funny. I like that. But we are going to need a bit more bones to make all these keys. Because why does everything take bones? Oh, it's a skeleton key. Okay, that makes sense. Never mind. I was silly for asking. So I don't want to overwhelm myself too much. So let's just go with 3 short room keys and put them here so we can have a little bit more breathing room real quick. And I think that'll be a good start. So go ahead like this. Go in the 4 corners. We're going to need to craft some more of these. But with 2 short room keys, we right click this guy and we get more space. And if we do it over here, it does the same thing. So let me go ahead and craft one more. We should have the resources. I just have to make a bone block and then cut the bone block into bones. And then we can craft another skeleton key and then smack it with a hammer like so. And I gotta say, it's a little tedious, but I do like the effect. It's really nice. And now that we have these extra rooms, I think I can harvest this glass and use it to make an extra tank for our strainers. Because I think this does count as glass. Now that's a strainer tank, so if we search that back up, strainer tank, it doesn't work. Accepts tag forge glass, and I guess this does not count as glass. Interesting. It must be an anti-cheese mechanic. That way you can't just use that to skip it and make more, which is weird. But there must be a way to get glass or sand coming up pretty soon. Now these are all the different keys. By crafting them, we just get a little bit more key fragments so we can make more keys. But I want to see where we can go to get grass, not grass, sand, so we can make glass. Now what is this? A drying table. What are your uses, drying table? Stone bricks to cracked, soaked paper to paper, sapling, pork chop to jerky. Okay, so it dries stuff out, and if you soak it, it does the opposite. Interesting. So it's kind of like a pseudo furnace, kinda, but I think we can actually just craft a regular furnace right here. It just has a little bit different uses. But as you can see, everything is going to take a little bit more bones, which means more fish, which means I'm going to have to rebuild this guy because I didn't realize it stopped working. Oh wow, some of the sharks have come up real close. It's kind of hard to see them though perfectly. They're a bit covered by the light, but I can see the surface is not too far. Now it is interesting that the Y level is 64, but we're at Y of 121, so we're actually very high up, which reminds me of Waterworld. If you ever seen that, great film. Alright, now we can make a bone mesh if we just make another stick. And grab our bone mesh, and now what does this do? Tier 2 mesh, max uses 221. How many uses is the wooden mesh? Wooden mesh. It's like a tongue twister. 80. So it's 4 times as effective. Almost, right? 80, 220. Almost 4 times as effective. If it had 19 more uses, it would be. Now let's see. Stone pebbles come from the strainer with leaves and a bone mesh. Gotcha. And it is a 50% chance. What was that? Oh, it's the bottom. So if I take this guy, take you out, put the leaves back here, we're going to start getting stone. Now, how much stone? And that does mean we're going to get... Oh no, worms already come from the light blue colored leaves. But I thought... Strainer... Ah, here we go. So a worm is 100%, but the stone pebbles are 50%. So we're always going to get a worm, but we're not always going to get stone pebbles. Alright, there we go, stone pebbles. And then I believe it said 4 stone pebbles make a single block of cobblestone. And we finally advanced into the Stone Age. Now this is going to be really slow, because we're going to need a lot of cobblestone to actually craft a few of these items here. Is there any way to get resource gathering, basic ores? Is there any way to get sand? So it doesn't look like there's any way to actually get sand from a renewable way, which means we must have to build a diving suit and collect sand from the bottom of the ocean floor out there. That seems to be the only way. Because right now we're limited to just a single strainer because we only have 1 water. Or can I actually... I'm going to test something. So if I take this strainer, and we're going to move this guy. Where's my axe? Right here. Because we do have a bucket of water, as you can see here. So I'm wondering... if I move a strainer into the corner and block it off with glass, like so, and I put water on top, will this function? So bait box, mesh. Okay, it does function. So it doesn't have to be a tank, it just has to be a full block of water, which I think the strainer tank just counts as a block of water, and it doesn't spill out everywhere. That's good to know, because now I can keep generating fish for more bones, which seems pretty important. Now this is a little bit of a housekeeping thing. I'm going to make the key block remover, and now if I combine this with that, we can make the wall remover 9x4, which should, 1, 2, 3, 4, just remove this wall entirely. Just like that. Perfect. I like it. Now I'm guessing if I do that here, it will just let all the water in, so I'm not going to do that, but that does save me a little bit of time. And this is a 9x4 room. Interesting. So now if we want to expand outwards, we just need a little bit more keys. We can add hallways. As the, as our little base grows, we're going to need some more room. But so far, it seems pretty chill. Now, I'm actually wondering, is that the night sky, or are those lights? They are moving slightly, so I think that's just the night sky rendered through the water. And now after stalling, we get a lot more wooden pebbles, not wooden pebbles, stone pebbles. We can make some more of this, make some more cobblestone, and make a furnace so we can actually cook up all of our food. And we'll put this guy, we'll put it right here on this side. I'm going to remove this wall later, but now that quest is completed. We can make stone in the furnace to make a redstone clock. Ah, here we go. Interesting. Now see, this is the type of stuff I like to see. It's a very useful diagram for how to automate the cutting board. I didn't even know that was possible. So now if we grab our wooden hopper and make ourselves another chest. Grab this. How do I make the redstone clock? With a single piece of stone and 4 buttons. So now we can use our 1 piece of stone and make 4 buttons, like so. 1, 2, 3, 4. And make ourselves a redstone clock. Make ourselves a dropper. Grab ourselves our chest. Where's my knife? My knife, hopper, clock, dispenser. Now if we move this guy, actually, where does it get deposited? Did it show that in the thing here? No, it just puts it right there. Huh. Interesting. Well, I'll just move this into the middle then. So according to the diagram, we put the cutting table here, dispenser there, put the knife in here. What is this thingamabob? That's a crazy looking diagram. Like that. Hopper goes here. Chest goes up there. Clock goes here. And now if we put fish, it should automatically chop the fish for us. And it works! Alright, that's really cool. I like that. Now there must be a way... Actually, I think I know exactly what it is. I'm pretty sure if I just grab this hopper here... Oh, I forgot my axe broke. I'm pretty sure if I just put the hopper underneath, it should suck up all the items. So it's a little awkward to put it in here. So I might just move it over maybe to this side right here. And we just dump fish inside, and then we'll have the chest on the bottom in front of it to get out all the bones. Seems pretty efficient. Now, it was at this point that I wanted to improve the design to automatically pull our outputs from the cutting board and put it directly into the chest. But sadly, the hopper will just steal the item directly from the cutting board before we can actually cut it, which means this wasn't going to work. So I broke down the whole setup and rebuilt it in a different position. This is still much better than trying to cut everything manually though, and is far more efficient. And now, using all of our money, we can finally make the catalog and see what we can purchase. So let me make one more cobblestone here, and we can now craft the catalog. And I shouldn't have put all the money away. How do I take it out? I think I just right click this guy. No, how do I take the money out? Oh, you just right click. Awesome. So now we can make, oh, this has to be regular stone. Okay, let me smelt that real quick. Alright, now we can make a catalog. Grab this, grab that, make you, and now what can we purchase with our money? And I'll just put this guy right over here. Catalog, money goes in, blocks come out. Animal net beta. This can, okay, so that's just a way we can grab stuff. Warp pipes, apple of ascent. When eaten, it will elevate you to the above dimension. I'm not sure what that means, and it kind of scares me. Okay, interesting. So we can buy a loot box for $4 dues. Not sure what that is for. And there's also a bunch of spray paint. But it seems like it's mostly just these storage upgrades and warp pipes. Can I not craft storage upgrades in this pack? Do I have to buy them from this guy? Storage, upgrade, like let's take a look at the diamond one. No, you can't craft it. And then, okay, so you could also view everything that the catalog sells. And it's both the same. Not quite sure why we would need that. Storage core. What is a storage core? Interesting. Huh. I do want to buy a loot box because I love loot boxes. Mysterious cube. Through others we become ourselves. Is that... I thought that's for refined storage in this pack. Anyway, buying my loot box. Why can't I buy the loot box? C-Bucks in. Loot box out, please. There we go. Let me put away my dollars and then put this away in here. And let's see what comes out of the loot box. 2 pieces of dirt and a piece of cobblestone. Not that bad. Now it looks like there are 3 tiers of loot boxes. Do they say what's inside? They do not. Seems like I can't get the other ones though. Interesting. But I won't say no to free cobblestone. That's pretty good, as that will get us through the next couple tiers. Now, charcoal comes from burning logs. We can make mini charcoal, make a charcoal filter to help breathe, and it should get us to diving pretty soon. And I was right. So once we get diving gear, that'll get us to gravel, dirt, and sand and glass, so we can make some more of that, along with flower pots, clay to make botany pots. And once we get these, we can automate the production of our saplings, which will be very good. Now, why do we need dried kelp? Now to make the drying table, we're going to need a piece of cobblestone and a leafy mesh, which comes from leafy string, which comes from leaves. Luckily, we have a bunch of leaves, so we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. I think that's enough. 5 of that to make a stringy mesh, and then it should be corners, and you go in the inside, like so. And what was it called? I always forget. Drying table. And we're going to need a bit more sticks. And craft the drying table. Done. We're probably going to need a lot of these. And I'll put you right here to start. And what do we need out of this? You can waterlog it to make a soaking table. I'm sure the Mormons know all about that. Log sheet. Comes from 4 pieces of driftwood. like so. And we need to make a soaked piece of paper. So I need to soak this guy in water. Where's my bucket? Like so. And we need to cover this guy so the poisonous water doesn't touch us. So we're going to go ahead and move him into a corner. I think this corner is fine. Like so. And soak him. Now we can take our paper and put that in there. And how long does this take? Luckily it does say, so 10 seconds. So 20 seconds in total. That'll make the soaked paper, and then we have to dry it. So let me go ahead and make a second drying rack. And we'll use this drying rack right over here. And now the paper is soaked, and we can put this on our drying table to make it into regular paper. And that'll get us here. And now we need to make some charcoal. How much logs do we have? A good amount. And actually, I already have some charcoal. I'll just go ahead and convert the rest of this. We can always harvest some more. So we'll grab this. Grab our paper, 2 pieces of paper, and now we can shrink this into mini charcoal and make a charcoal filter. And we're going to need a bit more paper. You know, I wonder, could I have a soaked drying table up here, wooden hopper and the regular one underneath, and would that work? In theory, I think it would. Assuming that this doesn't count as an inventory it can pull out from and only the bottom. That's what it hinges on. Anyways, now we can make our charcoal filter. And that almost finishes the whole chapter. Now we should be able to go into diving here, see not everything is forge, and we can use our charcoal filters plus some leafy string to make marine fabric, and that'll get us started onto the next chapter. Wait, how much does that need? I already forgot. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, because we have 2 pieces of paper. And put that in here to make our marine fabric. And starting our diving gear quest. Provides protection and water breathing. Time to loot. And then we're going to need a whole bunch of this to make the whole set, and we'll be good to go. And I think this is a good stopping point for the first episode. We accomplished quite a lot. I can already see how I might be able to automate a couple of functions, like our drying rack, so we can make a lot more paper and do stuff like that. But next episode, we're going to finish off our diving gear, and we're going to head out into the deep, cold ocean. But as always, I'm your host, Hamas28, and I'll see you guys next time.